PlayStation is leaping into the world of prosumer controllers with the DualSense Edge. We had the opportunity to check out the new gamepad, and it feels like a well-rounded hobbyist controller that's easy to customize on the fly. The DualSense Edge feels and looks nearly identical to the DualSense controller, which the lead product manager assured me was an intentional decision so as to not alienate players who have already spent hundreds of hours with the standard DualSense. The customizable back buttons are the thing that felt the most different. Unlike the Xbox Elite Series 2 controllers 4, there are only 2 back buttons on this controller. The paddles jut out slightly more than the Elite controllers, meaning it requires a tap to press rather than the squeeze motion you would normally do with an Elite controller. The package also comes with an alternative set of back buttons shaped like half moons. These felt more natural in our hands as they leaned right up against our middle fingers. Of course, you can also remove all the back buttons altogether if you'd like. There are limits to what you can and can't customize when it comes to button configurations. You cannot program multiple inputs to a single button press, and there are some restrictions with the touchpad, though we didn't get a good idea of those during the preview. The most useful additions to the DualSense Edge are the 2 function buttons located just below the analog sticks. Holding one down brings up a menu that allows you to quickly switch controller profiles, adjust headset volume, and pop into a menu to tweak your controller settings. The function buttons feel like a natural extension of the DualSense that makes it easier to access key features you're likely to need in a gaming session. Their location makes them hard to misclick during heated moments, yet they are easy to access mid-game. The biggest barrier for us when it comes to controller customization has always been finding the time to really fine-tune it to fit our needs, but the DualSense Edge makes it a breeze to find and test different controller settings. The sleek new controller menu is also effortless to navigate. Once you've created a profile, you can customize button assignments, stick and dead zone sensitivities, trigger dead zones, vibration intensity, and trigger effect intensity. If you flip on the trigger stops, it will automatically adjust trigger effect sensitivity. From the stick sensitivity dead zone menu, you can pick from a handful of default sensitivity curves for sticks, or you can tweak the sensitivity and dead zone manually. There's a handy visualizer in this menu as well that shows how much force you're putting on the sticks with your preferred settings. Along with swapping out the stick caps, the DualSense Edge also allows you to remove the stick modules. You can pop off the hood with the little tab on the back of the controller. From there, you can unlock the modules and push them out. Historically, the sticks on controllers are usually the first to go, so this addition is a welcome one. The modules run from $20 on Sony's official storefront, which is far more reasonable than purchasing a new controller outright. Popping the hood off was a bit of a pain, but ideally you shouldn't have to do that often. Annoyingly, the hood itself is made out of a glossy plastic that attracts smudges and thumbprints. In the few hours we had with the controller, we found it impossible to keep it clean. This certainly isn't a deal breaker, but it will surely be enough to bother some users. Hopefully, because the hood can be removed entirely, we will see some aftermarket hoods with a matte finish. While the DualSense Edge probably won't cater to casual PlayStation 5 owners, it's a great piece of kit for those who take their gaming seriously. During our time with the controller, we tested out God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Gran Turismo 7. Between the 3, we found the DualSense Edge best suited for Modern Warfare's twitchy gameplay. Being able to map jump and slide to the back buttons meant we didn't have to take our thumb off the right analog stick while performing some of the game's trickier maneuvers. Meanwhile, the controller didn't feel as useful for Gran Turismo 7 and God of War Ragnarok. It's nice being able to map things to the back buttons, but the appeal of the DualSense Edge isn't quite as strong for single-player games where inputs are fewer and the demands of the player are much less than in a competitive multiplayer experience. Like the Elite, the controller, along with the charger, swappable stick caps, back buttons, and a cord lock are all packaged in a white hardshell carrying case with a hole in the back for easy charging. Overall, the DualSense Edge feels like a nice option for PlayStation owners that might have been looking at Xbox's offerings with Pro Controller envy. For $200, you'll get a controller that has a familiar form factor, improved ergonomics, some new feature options, and a good level of customization.